finally, Black Ops 6 is here, and finally, I have more camos to grind. The past 2 Call of Duties, I've gotten these camos extremely fast, but for this one, it's going to be a little different for me because I don't have as much time to play. With that being said, however, this video is about the assault rifle. I've made videos like this in the past. Basically, I go through every single assault rifle. I talk about the good and the bad of each one, what I think they could do to balance these guns out, and then I throw it into a rating system ranging from F to A+. I feel like getting gold is enough to kind of properly judge and place these guns, so let's start with them with the XM4. So the XM4 in this game, I don't think is as good as its Cold War counterpart. This thing is solid, but maybe it's just the game. The hit reg is ridiculous. I feel like half the time I'm hitting people 30 times and they're hitting me twice with the XM4. I don't really know what it is. I feel like it might be like a fire rate misconception issue. This thing sounds like it shoots 1,200 rounds a minute, but it really doesn't. Range is solid. It's pretty much the most mid, but also I would say it's slightly above average. The rating I am giving it is a B. I think it's slightly above average. Average would be like a C. It gets edged out by the harder hitting assault rifles though. It has decent range. I'll give it that for the fire rate, but other than that, yeah, we're going to go with a C rating for the XM4. The next gun we have is the AK, and I'm giving this thing a B+ rating. This thing, I think, is a little bit better than the XM4. This is all purely based on feels, by the way. No fucking detailed stats. We don't do that here. This AK is a little bit less of a harder hitting AK compared to Cold War. I love the AK in Cold War, by the way. This thing feels more like the XM4 should, or the older XM4 from Cold War. I say Cold War a lot. This game is pretty much Cold War. This thing is pretty much just another gold standard assault rifle. This thing is going to excel in pretty much every category, and with some of the scopes in this game, like the one I'm using here, I actually find it easier to use on these slower rate of fire, heavier hitting guns. I really like the optic selection in this game, by the way. But yeah, you're going to find yourself using this thing and enjoying it. You're not going to, this isn't going to hurt your brain like some of the other ARs, so look forward to using this thing because it's definitely one of the more solid assault rifles. Like I said before, probably in my top 3 spots. So the AMS is the next gun, and this is my sleeper pick. I'm putting this at my number 2 spot, giving it an A- rating because this thing is solid as shit. I know on paper, I believe it is literally the slowest killing AR, but this thing is a fucking laser beam. This gun was easily the most surprising one. I thought this thing was going to be a pea shooter. It's literally the Krig from Cold War with a faster fire rate. My favorite part about this thing though is easily how early you unlock the good attachments, one, and then this thing's a beam. It doesn't move. It just goes straight up and it's easy to control. And I mean, the damage for the rate of fire is great. Like I said, A- rating for this thing. It's slightly above the AK in my opinion. But that has nothing on our next gun. This GPR, also known as the L85 or 86, is a fucking monstrosity and gets a D rating. This thing is terrible. I do not care what anyone says. This thing gets more hit markers than the Scorpion with rapid fire. When you're using this gun, it just doesn't feel like an assault rifle. It doesn't do AR damage, and it doesn't have AR range. I've been trying to stay out of hardcore for this camel grind because I do like the core grind more. This thing was triple hit markering in hardcore at normal assault rifle range. Every other gun, the Tanto SMG was outgunning. This thing just doesn't do enough damage and it doesn't have enough range. If you tweak that a little bit, this thing might be decent. I think this is by far the worst assault rifle. That is, like I said, these are all my opinions and I'm ignoring what the stats say and just the feel and the gameplay of the gun. This thing is fucking terrible, dude. On to what I think is the best assault rifle. At a flat A, not an A+, we have the Model L. This thing is probably the most consistent AR. Like I said, my favorite part about the model is the consistency of it. There's no weird hit reg bullshit. It has good damage, good rate of fire, and a crazy range, to be honest. I actually found myself surprised at some of the gunfights I could take with this thing. This is probably my favorite assault rifle. I think it is the best assault rifle. I'm not sure how the TTK stacks up to the other ones. I haven't even checked it, but I think this is probably going to be your best bet for the easiest gun to get gold right now in the assault rifle category. This thing is just kind of nuts, to be honest. Next up is a gun that I was really confused with. We have the Goblin coming in at a C- rating. This thing isn't that bad, but it is a semi-auto assault rifle. If this gun was fully automatic, it would probably sit in like a B tier for me. The issue with this gun is that because you have to tap fire it, you lose some accuracy and you lose way more gunfights. I did enjoy using it. It's a very different experience for a COD gun, at least in my experience with Call of Duty. It's basically a pistol and an AR housing. It's just tap firing like you would a pistol. On a worse note, this was pretty much the only gun I had to go to hardcore to fucking do, because this gun in core is absolutely horrible. Much like the AK, ACOG site definitely recommended here. This scope I had the most success with. It's just easier with the tap fire. But onto our last assault rifle, which I thought was going to be overpowered, but sadly was not. Last but not least, I guess, we have the ASL. Another B tier weapon. I am afraid to say I wish this thing was overpowered as shit like it used to be. But sadly, this game balanced this gun a little bit, we'll say that. The main problem this gun has, at least when you're unlocking shit, is the mag size. You don't get a decent mag until this thing is halfway to max level. I think it's more, actually. The time to kill is great. The range is shit. The recoil is kind of bad, but it's that like close to mid-range time to kill that boosts this thing up. If you're close, this thing is decimating people. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm shit. I had a really hard time getting the headshots for this thing. I don't know why. I just could not headshot people. I don't know why. But that is it for this thing. Not a lot to say. It's just a shadow of what it used to be in the previous Modern Warfare game. I'm sure they'll buff this thing at some point. They usually go through a cycle of buffing every gun imaginable. But that is it for the final assault rifle ranking for my gold camos. I hope you guys did enjoy this kind of realistic, basic, average COD player rating of some of the guns. I know everyone's sick of the what's guns the best and what's the best meta. I'm not a part of that group of people. I kind of just talk about how the game feels, and a lot of these guns feel pretty balanced, and there really isn't a standout assault rifle that's overpowered. But in our next video, we'll talk about the clearly dominant class in this game, the SMGs. I'm working on those now, about halfway done, and my god, these things are OP as shit.